Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
She's not backing down. A retired Detroit police officer taking a stand tonight after security cameras catch robbers hitting her home.
A mountain of tires, a huge mess. Help Me Hank putting pressure on the owner of this property to clean it up once and for all. Now we're back to see what's been done.
All right, Hank, and breaking right now, a verdict has been reached in the trial of the man charged with murdering Chelsea Bruck. That verdict is expected to be announced at any moment right now.
And also breaking right now, a federal prosecutor, a key player in the Kwame Kilpatrick case, charged with assaulting his 78-year-old mother. Glad you're with us here today at 5. Michael Bellata is a long-serving U.S. attorney here in Detroit, now charged with domestic violence for an incident from last month.
Yeah, he's most well known for his role in the successful prosecution of ex-Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick. Let's get right out to Jermont Terry live with new information on what prosecutors say happened. Jermont?
Kimberly, that federal prosecutor could not wish his mother a happy Mother's Day this past weekend. That's because he's been ordered to avoid all direct and indirect contact with his nearly 80-year-old mother following this domestic violence charge. This is Michael Bellata. He was a key federal prosecutor in the Kwame Kilpatrick case. But now Bellata is a defendant following an alleged incident at his house in Rochester in early April. Bellata is charged with domestic violence after the Oakland County Sheriff's Department arrested him for domestic violence with his 78-year-old mother. A close family friend provided this image of the mother's bruised hand. This is an injury after Bellata is accused of shoving his mother to the ground and allegedly striking her. Bellata is currently leading up a corruption case out of Macomb County, and despite these charges, he continues to work at the federal courthouse in Detroit. The acting U.S. attorney tells Local 4, "We have faith that the system will produce a just outcome. In the meantime, we have the utmost confidence in the Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Bellata's ability to carry out the important work in this office." Now, Bellata posted a $3,000 bond, and as we mentioned, he is back at work here at the federal courthouse. I should point out, I reached out to his attorney. She did not return my phone calls as of yet. And we should also point out that Bellata has served as a U.S. Assistant Attorney for nearly 20 years. Reporting live in downtown Detroit tonight, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
All right, Jermont, also breaking tonight, we have a verdict in the Chelsea Bruck murder trial.
After closing arguments this morning, then jury instructions after lunch, deliberations got underway. That would mean a pretty quick turnaround. Jason Colthorpe live at the courthouse in Monroe. Jason?
And guys, that verdict just came in just a few moments ago. The jury has been deliberating since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. They were expected to go home here any minute. Then all of a sudden, it was announced they had a verdict. So they just began a 15-minute break for the court right now. And then we assume they're going to come back out and announce this verdict. And it is, as you said, Devin, a little unusual in this case because the defendant isn't asking for innocence here. He's admitting guilt. And that's kind of what he's testified, that he killed Chelsea Bruck accidentally through rough sex. And today the prosecution argued that even if that's true, he's still guilty of first-degree murder. In closing arguments, the prosecutor hammered home the facts of the case, no matter how difficult they were to hear.
A fair examination of the evidence proves that the defendant murdered Chelsea, not by some erotic asphyxia, but by multiple blunt force blows to her face.
But the defense argued the massive damage to Bruck's facial bones was not the result of his client.
He did not hit her with a blunt object. He does not know exactly how those injuries were sustained.
3 hours after Clay admittedly hid Bruck's body after he says he panicked.
His testimony is that he did not have the intent to kill Chelsea Bruck. It was not his intention. His intention was to have fun.
The prosecution saying 3 things show this was no accident.
The 3 inescapable realities are the blunt force trauma to Chelsea's face, the blood on the inside of her costume, and the torn straps and crotch.
Riley, for the first time in my career, I'm asking you to find my client guilty of 2 things. 1 is concealing the body, that's the count 2, and 2 is manslaughter.
Now, again, unusual circumstances here. The jury probably deciding right now, or has decided, between whether he's guilty of first-degree murder and, as you heard, manslaughter. And the verdict is in. We are waiting any moment to hear that. As soon as we have it, of course, we'll pass it on to you. We'll be here. Guys, back to you.
You bet, Jason. We'll be back to you here very shortly. All right. In the meantime, a retired Detroit police officer says she is not going to let some petty thieves run her out of her own neighborhood.
Yeah, take a look here at this security camera video that she gave us of robbers hitting her home on Detroit's west side. And now she's hoping that video will help catch these crooks. Let's get out to Coco McAvoy live. Coco, she's definitely not letting these guys scare her.
That's right, Kimberly and Devin. Johnny Rogers worked for the Detroit Police Department for 26 years. She loves her community, her neighborhood, her neighbors. She worked very hard for her house and she refuses to leave. So she hopes the parents of these thieves see the surveillance video and turn them in.
And I saw them running through the house with my bag, you know? And that's heartbreaking.
As a retired police officer, Johnny Rogers has seen her fair share of home invasions, but
I don't understand, how can you break into someone's home and not know who's on the other side of the door?
In Rogers' case,
this is the screen that they ripped out.
She was at church when the thieves broke in.
I received an alert from my alarm company.
She called her neighbor.
To her surprise, there were 4 young men going into my home.
They stole
computer, iPad, jewelry, shoes.
Rogers hopes the 4 young men learn from what they did.
I would not want your parents to be on television saying, oh, he was a good kid. Because my question to you would be, on what day?
Though they got away with her belongings and left behind a mess, they weren't able to take away her strong love for her community that she served for 26 years.
They're not going to stop me from living, and they're definitely not going to force me out. I'm going to be here.
And here's the thing, Rogers' home was broken into about 14 years ago, again on Mother's Day of all days while she was at church, so she's hoping this does not happen again. Back to you.
Yeah, what about other robberies in the area in that neighborhood, Coco? Have there been any recently?
Yes, Kimberly. So Rogers says that in that neighborhood, about a couple of blocks over, there was a robbery, and the description was the same, a group of young guys. So we're going to make sure to put that surveillance video on our website, clickondetroit.com. So if anyone recognizes anyone in that video, you're urged to call police.
Yep, video's pretty good. Okay, Coco, thanks. Down power lines have caused road closures in Huron Township.
Huron River Drive from West to King Road closed right now after power lines fell on the street. Police say Huron Township Hall remains closed as well. So at this point, unclear what brought the lines down. The road should be back open later tonight, we're told. Unfortunately, no one has been hurt.
Everyone is okay after a house fire in Novi.
Fire started around 5 this morning on Ford Street near 9 Mile and Taft. Firefighters quickly put it out, before nearly the entire roof was destroyed. At this point, still unclear how that started, although officials say lightning may have been a factor.
And as that fire was going on in Novi, an apartment caught fire on Detroit's west side. The fire broke out about 5:30 on the second floor of an apartment on Lasser near 8 Mile. Fortunately, crews managed to put the blaze out pretty quickly. No injuries were reported.
Today, the White House carefully denying reports that President Trump shared classified information with Russia. The president and his team are not disputing that information was shared, but rather insisting it does not endanger national security nor relations with U.S. allies. NBC's Blaine Alexander is at the White House with more. Blaine?
Well, Devin, at the center of all of this is information about ISIS plans to use laptop computers to blow up airplanes. But the question so many are asking today, did the president cross the line when sharing that information?
Standing beside the president of Turkey, a key ally in the U.S. fight against ISIS, President Trump today forced to explain reports that he may have undermined that fight by sharing classified information with Russia.
Well, we had a very, very successful meeting with the foreign minister of Russia, and we want to get as many to help fight terrorism as possible.
This hours after tweeting, sharing that intel with Russia is something, quote, I have the absolute right to do. The White House notably not denying that the president gave out information so sensitive it's not even being shared with our allies, as first reported by the Washington Post.
The president in no way compromised any sources or methods in the course of this conversation. The president wasn't even aware, of where this information came from.
NBC News is reporting it was Israel that provided the information reportedly shared during this Oval Office meeting with top Russian diplomats. No American press allowed inside. Democrats now demanding a transcript from that meeting.
Totally outrageous. If it was unwitting, that would be pathetic and dangerous. If it was intentional, that would even be, I don't know what's worse.
Even the top Senate Republican concerned.
I think it would be helpful to have less drama emanating from the White House.
A prelude to the president's first international trip as he looks to strengthen relationships overseas.
Meanwhile, the White House says that the real national security threat is whoever leaked that information to the press in the first place. At the White House, Blaine Alexander, Local 4.
All right, Blaine. A group of Detroit first responders honored for going well beyond the call of duty.
There's no time for panicking, so yeah, we did what we had to do.
New here at 5, what these brave firefighters did that helped save an entire family. I'm Ben.
Hey Kim, temperatures have already hit their warmest mark of the year so far today, and we've got even more to go. After a gorgeous evening, we'll look at warmer temperatures tomorrow. Coming up.
How would you like this mess in your neighborhood? Take a look at this video. Hundreds of tires piled high, neighbors frustrated, and the owner not doing anything about it until now.
Okay, Hank, but first, security camera rolls as a car flies into a Flint Township business in the middle of the night. We'll have that story coming up next.
And a reminder, we are awaiting the verdict. It should be read at any moment in the murder trial of Daniel Clay, the man accused of killing Chelsea Bruck. We received word just a few minutes before 5 that the jury had reached a verdict. They just got the case after lunch today. They took a 15-minute break, so we expect that verdict is going to be announced here in the next few minutes. As soon as it is, we'll have it for you on Local 4.
Critics are new at 6.
A house party in Plymouth Township draws a crowd of 400 people and leaves one girl injured. What role social media had on this party, according to police.
All right, Coco, the effort to stop a local father's deportation after 18 years here comes to a downtown Detroit courthouse. Tonight he remains in the United States, but new at 6, find out why that's only a partial victory for his supporters.
That's video from the Device Doctors in Flint Township, where a man drove his car into the store early Tuesday morning, drove off before police arrived, but after they released this video, he turned himself in. He is currently being held in the Genesee County Jail, expected to face charges after causing more than $10,000 worth of damage. Well, now to the eyesore that just won't go away. Neighbors were forced to live next to this huge pile of tires for months, and then they called Help Me Hank.
The owner of the property made promises to clean it all up, but he didn't come through until the city threatened criminal charges. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester is live. And Hank, this has been a big problem for, several months now?
It certainly has, Kimberly and Devin, but today we finally have some progress. As you mentioned, the city's been putting pressure on this guy. We have too. But today, neighbors are happy with what they're seeing. A mountain of tires, a big mess, a danger, an eyesore for those living in this neighborhood.
I have kids. I have 2 babies, and it's just not safe. And who wants to live next to this?
Those living near Finkel and Cloverlawn in Detroit reaching out to me, unable to track down the owner of this property. We did, and he said illegal dumpers made this problem even worse. But I was told, I was promised this would be cleaned up by the end of April. It wasn't, and that's when I again tracked down the owner, Mr. Fox. You said it was going to be cleaned up by the end of the month, and it's not. So what happened? You said it was going to be cleaned up.
Look, man.
That's the promise you made. I didn't make that promise, you did. We notified the city and dozens of tickets were issued, thousands of dollars worth of tickets, but then a deal. Clean this mess up by May 12th and avoid criminal charges. We returned to this site Friday the 12th, and we saw major progress. Hundreds of tires already removed. The sidewalk clear, the alley looking so much better.
This is something we can walk through now. Thanks, Hank.
And people like Tina Jones so happy to finally see this progress.
Well, they had 3 trucks and one of them bins. It was like about 3 or 4 of them. So they did, man, it was so ridiculous. So they're doing a good job.
Tina, like many, worried these tires would never be removed or that a raging fire would force her and her family from their home.
That was our main concern about, the tires and catching the fire. But they came in, they cleaning it out. They doing a good job, so far.
A tire shredder rolling onto the property, which will speed up the cleanup. Yes, there's a lot of work still to be done, but today Tina can walk through this alley. The mess is finally being removed.
I'm happy. I'm really happy. So I think Hank, you're really doing a good job.
Tina's happy, the neighbors are out there, so we are happy. As a part of that deal, if those tires were removed, if that property was cleaned up, the tickets and the fines that were imposed would be wiped away. We're live here tonight. Downtown, Hank Winchester, back to you.
And Hank, is the city going to be taking any action since some of the tires are still left behind?
Yeah, Devin, there are still, and you can see from the video, there are still a couple hundred tires left. City inspectors will be back this week. We hope to get an answer from them regarding what they're going to do about the situation. But the main headline here is everybody seems happy that progress was made.
Which is great. All right, Hank. Speaking of progress being made.
I tell you what, it's so nice. You can see Hank with the sunshine behind him. People were walking with short pants on and walking their kids. A beautiful.
Up over 80 degrees today?
86.
86, getting close, yeah.
And this isn't the warmest of the stretch. That's tomorrow.
How about it?
I would not be surprised if a couple spots hit 90 tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We couldn't find warm weather there for a while. No, yeah, exactly.
It's been so long, but we do get to enjoy it here. We're at 86 right now, but look at the difference between yesterday and today. And yesterday was a pretty nice day, anywhere between around 15 and 20 degrees warmer than what we're looking at from those temperatures yesterday. Slightly less of an improvement there in Mount Clemens, Macomb County, 5 degrees warmer than those numbers that we saw yesterday. So here's a look at the radar, and after those thunderstorms rolled through here this morning and got a lot of us out of bed early, we have started to dry out. In fact, when you lay the warm front on there, there's just sort of this dome where we've got this warm, stable air that's been setting up shop, and that's going to be the case for tomorrow and at least into early Thursday. Once we get into the sunrise hours on Thursday, that's going to start to change. But here's how things shape up tonight. We will stay mostly clear, staying unseasonably mild. In fact, our lows tonight will actually be close to what we would usually see for high temperatures this time of year. And then tomorrow, with those warmest of the forecast and warmest of the year temperatures so far, we are going to stay dry. Thursday morning, though, there will be some development down to the south in the overnight hours. We may get grazed by a thunderstorm or two early in the day on Thursday, but there are better chances of seeing those storms as we get into the evening hours on Thursday. So lows tonight, incredibly mild, 65 degrees, and then highs tomorrow get up to 88. At least that's what we're going to be at the airport. And when you see these numbers across the area in your 4-zone forecast, they look phenomenal. And they're going to be fairly close together. We're not going to see as wide of a range as what we saw today. 87, 88 is what we're looking at in the city, and maybe 89 out here in Livonia. But in addition to these warm temperatures, we're going to have winds. They're going to be gusting over 30 miles an hour. And anytime we see those gusty south winds with these warm temperatures, that's where we start overachieving. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple spots here, especially in our south zone, touch 90 tomorrow afternoon. West zone temperatures, we'll call it mid to upper 80s. And even in the north zone, where you're still in the 70s, at least out here in St. Clair and Sanilac County, we're looking at mid to upper 80s for high temperatures tomorrow. Start cooling down as we get into the upcoming 7-day forecast. 67 for that high on Friday. And we recover a little bit of ground going into the weekend. We'll call it a half and half here. Saturday, it looks like dry conditions. Sunday, I think we'll probably see a good chance of rain. Unfortunately, it's also going to be the warmest day of the weekend.
Yeah,
Soak in those 80s while you can.
Yeah, really.
All right, Ben. We got some breaking news just come into us. Of course, we've been following this story here throughout the day, and a jury has found Daniel Clay guilty of felony murder in the death of Chelsea Bruck. She disappeared from that Halloween party in 2014, was later found dead. Clay says she died accidentally while the two were having rough sex. Prosecutors argued she had a broken jaw and had been beaten with a blunt object. So again, Daniel Clay found guilty of felony murder in the death of Chelsea Bruck, not guilty of first-degree murder, also guilty of hiding a body, though that was not in dispute, concealing a dead body. That part was not really in dispute from him or his attorneys. A live report from the courthouse coming up at 6.
New at 5.
The road to recovery after a heart attack can be very difficult. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Ahead, a local man shares the secret to his success and why it could work for countless others.
But first, a wild bus crash caught on camera, why riders were forced to stay on board for an hour after the crash. Next.
Welcome back. Surveillance video captures the moment when a Metro bus in Kalamazoo smashes into a utility pole. Well, the accident happened last Thursday. It appears a car in the left-hand lane turned into the bus, causing it to crash. My goodness. Crash brought down power lines, trapping everyone on board the bus. Power crews arrived on scene about an hour later to cut the power to the line so passengers could get out safely. 4 people on the bus sustained minor injuries. An Allen Park man will be spending the next 12 years in prison after shooting 2 people on Christmas Day.
Last Christmas, police say 60-year-old Charles Miller shot a 16-year-old and a 2-year-old during a party after an argument. This morning, Miller was in court for his sentencing, where he apologized for what happened and said he never meant to hurt his family.
I want to apologize to you for this embarrassing situation. I meant my wife and granddaughter no harm.
Ultimately, the judge sentenced Miller to between 12 and 20 years in prison. Fortunately, both the 2-year-old and 16-year-old victims have since been released from the hospital and are okay.
New at 5:30.
Jobs in jeopardy. Reports say Ford is getting ready to make some deep cuts, even with vehicles flying off the lots. Think small. How this tiny solution could really help Detroit win the battle against blight.
It's been said that carbon monoxide is the silent killer, and 2 paramedics saw that firsthand. A family of 4, all of them nearly passed out. Those 2 paramedics, though, saved their lives. We'll tell you how.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
Heroes honored. These Detroit first responders will tell you they were just doing their jobs. But just wait until you hear the real story. We'll start there at 5:30. A large group of firefighters and paramedics awarded today because they've been saving lives.
Several people in the city of Detroit have been saved under extraordinary circumstances. Today, Nick Monticelli highlights one of those cases where a family nearly died because of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Good evening. I think the highlight of this story is that no one really knew just how close to death this family of 4 was. That's, of course, until paramedics showed up. In this West Side Detroit neighborhood, there's nothing reminding people of what happened less than 1 month ago.
It's no time for panic, yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Except for the memories of those involved. And now, the awards given out to the paramedics who saved lives. On April 14th, there was a 911 call here because of shortness of breath. It turns out that's not what was wrong. As paramedics arrived, a family friend stood waiting.
She opens the door and grabs me. I never had that. So she says, we got 4 people in the house that's passed out.
Passed out because of carbon monoxide poisoning. A water heater was improperly installed 3 weeks before, and the noxious fumes were slowly poisoning this family of 4. Mom, dad, a 14-year-old son, and an 11-year-old daughter. Knowing something was not right, paramedic Tony Mitchell and his partner James Wilson knew they only had seconds to save this family.
We kind of peeked in and you could see the young man standing at the garbage can, you know, just bent over the garbage can, throwing up, and he got this wild look on his face.
Me and my partner looked at each other and, you know, we say maybe we probably shouldn't be in here. but you know, we got kids in there and they was barely, you know, breathing or whatever, and we had to do what we had to do.
What they had to do was run in and pull all 4 people out, including 2 who were upstairs.
When I go up, there's another gentleman, he's laid out, stretched on the floor, and another young lady, she's stretched out on the floor.
Soon all 4 got to the hospital, and all 4 are okay now, thanks to 2 Detroit paramedics who didn't even think about their own safety.
I love my job, and I love the city of Detroit, so I give what I can.
On Detroit's west side, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Hard workers. 3 other Detroit paramedics were also honored this morning for their role in helping the driver of the semi-truck that fell off the Rouge Bridge.
Ford Motor Company reportedly getting ready to make some serious cuts globally, a reduction number set at about 10%. What's behind that, and how might these cuts come about? We bring in our business editor, Rod Maloney, who is live in Dearborn. Rod, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, but not a lot of them necessarily are here in Southeast Michigan. We want to be clear about that. But here's the thing. Mark Field, CEO of Ford Motor Company, under a lot of pressure from his board, from shareholders, and even from Wall Street to get the stock price up because they've had lots of profit, but the stock is lagging. Here's the problem, though. Wall Street is notorious for not liking the car business. So auto analysts like John McElroy say, yeah, they can cut away. It's not going to change much on Wall Street.
I don't think it's going to happen. It did not happen when they were posting record profits. Why should it happen now?
But that doesn't mean Ford won't try. It already announced a $3 billion cost-cutting program that initially leaves out blue-collar workers and instead will empty out some of the higher-paid white-collar ranks at the headquarters and other Ford design and management centers in North America and in China. McElroy says no matter where the pressure comes from, it's probably a good idea.
They're going to handle it through attrition. They're going to offer generous buyouts, and they're going to take down some costs that way.
But under the UAW contract, there is a way to adjust inventories, which for some of its most popular vehicles is way above industry norms of 60-day supply.
I would also expect to see them shut down some plants for a week here, a couple of weeks there, because they have at least 5 model lines in the United States right now that have over 90 days of inventory.
Ford tonight is not confirming any plans, but did put out this statement, quote, "We remain focused on the 3 strategic priorities that will create value and drive profitable growth, which include fortifying the profit pillars in our core business, transforming traditionally underperforming areas of our core business, and investing aggressively but prudently in emerging opportunities. Reducing costs and becoming as lean and efficient as possible also remain part of that work," end quote.
All right, and that was Rod Maloney reporting live for us tonight. Experts are now saying North Korea may be behind the cyber attack that's affected more than 300,000 computers worldwide. As part of the attack, hackers demand payment from victims in bitcoins to regain access to their encrypted computers. Now, a South Korean company believes North Korea may be behind the attack because of their history using bitcoins with malicious computer programs. At this point, though, the origin of the attack remains unclear.
We are following a number of stories from across the state tonight.
Starting on the west side of the state in Glenn, that is where a doctor has been suspended after allegedly performing liposuction in an unfinished pole barn. It's alleged Dr. Bradley Bastow committed numerous violations, including, but not limited to, performing liposuction procedures in unsanitary conditions, improperly disposing and storing medical waste, and improperly commingling human and animal drugs. This is video of the unfinished pole barn the doctor was reportedly operating out of. Officials say that his facility was, quote, dangerous and deplorable.
An Okemos priest is arrested on the 39th anniversary of his ordination, in fact, and now he's charged with embezzling from his church. This is Reverend Jonathan Worley. He was arrested Saturday and charged, I thought we were going to see Jonathan Worley, but he was charged today with embezzlement of $100,000 or more. He's up to 20 years in prison. There he is. Worley's attorney denies the allegations.
Well, it is one of the most in-demand fields right now in the city. Many companies just can't find workers with the right training.
We're talking about skilled trades and construction. Today, a special event at the Detroit Science Center aimed to help fill that need by inspiring students to think about skilled trades and careers. Kim DiGiulio was there.
With Michigan's crumbling roads, there's always going to be a need to know how to fix them. That's why we're here today at the Detroit Science Center, where Detroit students are learning about job possibilities in engineering and construction. More than 1,000 middle and high school students from 20 Detroit schools attended the 7th annual Construction Expo.
So we have outside skilled trades, inside engineering.
They spent the day drilling holes and hammering nails into large pieces of wood. The goal is to expose these students to jobs that are in high demand here in Michigan and show them that this type of work can be fun.
Yes, this was amazing. Like, I learned a lot.
Kaylin Pratt, a freshman at Mumford High School, got her hands dirty learning all about the skilled trade jobs that Michigan has to offer.
Oh, I actually made something out of polyester and clay. It was like a structure or something, and I learned how to really hammer a nail in professionally without breaking my fingers.
Each booth gives the students an idea of what kind of work goes into these skilled trade or engineering jobs. And there's an adult worker there to answer any of the students' questions.
The students love to say how much you make. That gets them very excited.
After today's expo, Kaylin says she sees a future for herself working for DTE.
Oh, electricity, definitely.
Reporting in Detroit at the Science Center, I'm Kim DeGiulio, Local 4.
Great program. A lot of people there with dreams to kindle now.
Right,
really
and they
cool.
actually get their eyes seeing exactly
Yeah,
what they're doing,
yeah.
which makes the world a difference.
Great stuff. The Pistons are unveiling a big change ahead of their first season back downtown.
New tonight, we'll show you how they're shaking things up, and it has nothing to do with draft picks.
Also, drivers say it came out of nowhere. New tonight, what crashed onto the highway that crushed a semi and caused traffic tie-ups for hours. Doc?
Well, the road to recovery after a heart attack can be rough and lonely. Coming up, a local man shares the secret to his success and why it could be the answer for countless others.
It's their place of worship to sing and gather as a community. But these church members worry about their neighbor next door.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
They call the Local 4 defenders for help. So why is this building still standing? The story tomorrow at 5.
I teach